Longer term subscribers will know that GotAUkulele likes things that are different and innovative. And that's what we got this week. Keep watching. Yeah, it's the GotAUkulele review day, and as always, this is your summary video for what's linked below. That's where you'll get the full detail. Thanks again, as always, to those who donated in the last week. You really do help keep this site going. That's the way it works. I don't get paid by the brands to do this, nor do I want to. And why not think about subscribing to the channel? The subscribe button is down there. Hit that and the little bell symbol, and you will get notified if I put new content up. Okay, I said different and innovative. I review a lot of instruments, hundreds and hundreds of them, and so many of them fall into the same molds, the same woods, the same shapes, the same construction type. But occasionally you come across brands that do things quite differently, and one of those that's done things the most differently, I suppose, is an Italian brand called Antica Ukuleleria. That is the business of Italian Verona-based luthier Marco Todeschini, who's a lovely chap. He sent me over some instruments of his before, including the Moderno tenor and the UFOS electric, both of which were very different in design, but both of which worked really, really well as an instrument, because he's got an incredible eye for detail in making a musical instrument work. And I've seen this one, which has been in development for about 12 months now, testing, developing on his social media channels, and been keen to have a look. They are now available, and he has sent me one to borrow. This one is the Sacco Soprano, and it really is not only a cool shape, but also very different in the construction, and we'll come on to why. It's this back shell. Sacco is an Italian word for sack, and that's what this is made of. This is jute sackcloth, the stuff that coffee beans, potatoes comes in, but it's not a soft cloth. What he's done is he puts it in a mold, and a vacuum mold, and under high pressure injects in a bio-based resin, which hardens into this hard, smooth, really nice feeling shell, no sharp edges, and I think it's absolutely lovely, absolutely lovely. Marco says this is not a new idea, of course. Blackbird have used it with their Ecoa, and in fact carbon fibre is mats of carbon weave cloth put into a resin and then pressed. Marco wanted to find a way of doing it eco-friendly, hence the recyclable cloth and the bio-based resin, and do it in a small workshop at home, and that's what he's been testing, and he's made it work because this works. This is a shell, and yeah, it looks like a piece of sackcloth. It looks like a print, but it isn't, and you see that when you look inside, because you see the rough inside, which isn't shiny, and it's absolutely marvellous in this teardrop shape, and I really like that. It comes with a choice of different tops, either in standard, which is a birch laminate, which is actually what Marco suggests you go with, because this is tough, more of an outdoor instrument, and the laminate is a tough option. However, on this example, this is your solid option, which only comes for a small moderate price increase. This is solid cedar, beautifully straight grained. You also get a choice of solid spruce. I absolutely love the finish on that top as well. The saddle bridge is a through body style carved out of pear wood. I love that elliptical shape. That's a black plastic saddle with a straight top. That's really, really tidy. And the only other decoration you get is an optional edge binding made of an ethical ebony substitute, whose name I can't quite remember, but it's on the website. But basically it's strips of hardwood laminated together into a block, which is then carvable. And it works really well. Looks very tidy, very, very nicely done all the way around. I've put some pictures in the review of what it looks like inside. There's not a lot to see, but you've got bracing here. You've got kerfing around the top to hold the top onto the shell, but the back, of course, doesn't really need any bracing because of its shape. And I absolutely love the look of it. I mean, how can you not like the look of that? Talk about different. All right, moving up. The neck is made of cherry with some wonderful grain in the cherry. And it's also nice and diminutive up here because the top is so thin, so it doesn't really have much of a heel. nicely flat on the back. It's a dead roomy. Now let me check. It is a dead roomy 37mm and 30 from G2A on the string spacing. That's really nice. It's topped with more pear wood, which, as you can see, sits on top of a black. It looks like a gap, but it isn't. That's a black material underneath, which gives it a purfling effect all the way around. The pear wood is nice and pale, supremely smooth. You get a 0 fret to help with intonation, and then you get 16 in total, with 12 to this point. They are dressed impeccably well, really smooth. I love the fingerboard, I love that width, and it's nice and shallow on the back as well. Small tiny dots face out at 5, 7, 10, double at 12. Side dots too cool. Plastic nut, which is really just doing the string spacing, because the 0 fret is dealing with the intonation. And then this kind of open frame headstock, which I love. That's the Antica Ukuleleria kind of style, the same shape as the UFOS, but obviously with this hole in the middle of it. That's really nice. The tuners are made by De Young. They look indistinguishable to me to open gears made by Grover. They're that kind of quality, so they're really good. They're extremely smooth. And you finish off with a set of fluorocarbon fishing line strings that Marco makes available on his website, Marco's Strings. It's fishing line, but it gauges that he likes. And that's what I use as strings, so they suit me. In standard spec for this one, that is to say the one with the laminate top and no binding, you're looking at €380. And in this spec with the solid top and the binding goes up to 440, so not a huge increase. I think that's a really keen price for a luthier built instrument made somewhere not in the Far East. This is made in Italy by one guy. 380 to 440 euros isn't a lot of money. That's keen on luthier price instruments, I think. And you know, I think you can probably tell with me going through it, I absolutely love the look of it. I cannot find any flaws with the build anywhere. Marco sent this over and said, oh, you'll see 1 or 2 flaws in the outer jute. I can't see any. I can't see any. It's really smooth and tactile. It's really light, but feels secure because of this material, I guess. It's not grippy. Oh, I didn't tell you about the finish. We finished with something called Rubio oil, which again is a non-toxic food grade alternative to true oil. Not quite as resilient as true oil, but Marco can offer you that if you want that. But he likes using that because it's not toxic, but also it doesn't affect the mechanical qualities of the wood. So it's a very light coat, but I think it feels absolutely wonderful. The whole thing does. This far, I absolutely love it. I mean, I can't fault it. The build's wonderful. The looks are wonderful. I like how eco-friendly it is. There's not a lot in here that is... Everything's sustainable. The cherry wood is sustainable. The pear wood is sustainable. There's no tropical hardwoods. That's jute sackcloth. I mean, jute grows everywhere. It's really nicely thought out. As I say, built really well, nice and light. Let's tune it up. I have a play for you. Now, first up, it's in G. Volume, great. Really loud. And the sustain's good. In fact, it's all good. When I was thinking about it, I thought, well, how am I going to describe it? I love the tone. Does it sound like a wooden ukulele? No, not fully, but not far away. And do you know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of the flea, and what the flea would sound like if the flea didn't have the plastic bowl back. I love the sound of the flea, but it has got a tinge of plastic to it. Lunchboxy sound. This hasn't. But it feels like playing a flute. I love it, absolutely love it. Yeah, woodier, warmer, more rounded tone than I was expecting for something that is not traditionally made. I think he's absolutely nailed it on with this one. It gets a very good score. How could it not? It looks great. It's built really well. I love the innovation and the eco qualities to it. It's well priced. He's a really nice guy. The Antica Ukuleleria Sacco Soprano, made by Marco in Italy. These should fly. These should absolutely fly. What a wonderful little instrument. Thank you for the loan of this, Marco. I really appreciate it. Back next week. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.